The alarm did not ring loudly. It whispered. At exactly 14:27 Galactic Standard Time, a thin red line appeared across the walls of Ambassador Zethra's office. No sirens, no explosions, just a soft, constant pulse of warning light. That alone made his heart tighten. In 3 centuries of service to the Galactic Council, Zethra had learned one brutal truth. The most dangerous events never announce themselves with noise. His assistant rushed in, her violet hands trembling as she struggled to activate the holographic display. "Ambassador," she said, voice strained. "We have a situation." Zethra set his tea down slowly. He did not ask what kind of situation. Experience had already narrowed it to 3 possibilities: war, plague, or humans. "Speak," he said. The assistant swallowed. "Human space has gone silent." The room seemed colder. Zethra stood, defined silent. The hologram expanded, filling the air with what should have been chaos. Normally, human territory was a storm of information. Quantum bursts, data chatter, civilian traffic, artificial intelligence handshakes, even fragments of their chaotic entertainment networks. Now, nothing. An empty void where 20 billion voices should have been screaming at the universe. "All transmission ceased 3 hours ago," the assistant said. "Radio, quantum, civilian networks, military channels, everything." Zethra felt a chill crawl up his spine. Humans were many things: loud, argumentative, endlessly creative, but they were never quiet. Had we contacted them? Yes. Earth. Colonies. Stations. She hesitated. No response. Zethra turned to the massive viewport overlooking the Galactic Council station. Ships from dozens of species drifted peacefully beyond the glass, unaware that the most unpredictable civilization in known space had just vanished from conversation. He activated an emergency channel. Within moments, holograms flickered to life around him. Commander Vex of the Ethereal Collective shimmered, with fractured light. General Tor of the Iron Synthesis stood rigid, metal frame humming softly. Even the Hive Queen speaker had joined, an unprecedented move. "You're seeing it too," Zethra said. Vex spoke first, crystalline voice trembling. "Our psychic arrays detect no human thought patterns. For species that broadcast emotion like radiation, this is wrong." General Tor followed. "All human digital activity has ceased. Artificial intelligence is inactive. No data flow. This does not align with any known human behavior." The Hive Queen's mandibles clicked nervously. "Our energy-feeding offspring report starvation. Human electromagnetic output has dropped to 0. Human space is empty." Silence fell over the meeting. "Investigation?" Zethra asked. Tor's optical sensors dimmed slightly. "We sent 3 scout vessels toward human border systems. None returned." Vex added quietly, "Our fastest courier reached near-Earth space. Last message described shadows and silence." The Hive Queen leaned forward. One scout transmitted a final image. "Show it," Zethra said. The recording filled the room. A human station orbited peacefully. Lights on, systems active, but no movement, no traffic, no life. Then the pilot's voice, shaking, barely audible. "They're not gone. They're waiting." Static. The channel cut. Zethra ended the meeting and stood alone, staring at the stars. He remembered first contact. Humans had seemed ordinary, curious, loud, reckless. That illusion died quickly. Humans fu differently. They didn't surrender. They didn't accept loss. They didn't retreat. They adapted. When pushed, humans did not break. They changed the rules. Zethra opened historical archives. Proxima, the Hive Plagues, the Logic War. Every time the galaxy had underestimated humanity, it paid a price measured in extinction or surrender. Now humanity wasn't arguing, wasn't warning, wasn't threatening. They were silent. And silence, for humans, meant only one thing: hunting. Trade routes began collapsing within hours. Ships refused to approach human space. Markets panicked. Rumors spread faster than data ever could. They're looking for something. Or someone. Whatever it is, they won't stop. Zethra activated a council-wide alert. Code Orange, he ordered. All systems within 50 light-years. Avoid human territory. The operator hesitated. Reason? Zethra stared into the void. Tell them the humans stopped talking. Anyone who knew history would understand. As the transmission went out, Zethra felt certainty settle into his bones. Somewhere beyond the stars, humanity had decided words were no longer enough, and when they finally spoke again, the galaxy would bleed. Fear did not spread to the galaxy like fire. Fire was loud. Fire was obvious. This fear spread like vacuum, quiet, invisible, and lethal once it reached you. Within 6 hours of the Code Orange alert, human space was officially classified as Void Zone Omega. That designation had only been used twice in galactic history. Both times, civilizations had ceased to exist shortly afterward. Ambassador Zethra stood in the observation gallery of the Galactic Council, watching traffic maps collapse in real time. Trade convoys rerouted by tens of light years. Diplomatic missions aborted mid-jump. Civilian transports turned around without explanation. Human space was being avoided like a plague. No one said why. They didn't have to. Why hasn't Earth responded? Asked Commander Vex, her crystalline form flickering erratically. They always respond, added General Tor, even when angry. That was a problem. Umans arga, umans prutasta, umans triatanat. But humans never went silent. Zethra pulled up restricted archives. Because, he said slowly, silence is how humans behave when debate has failed. Across the chamber, military analysts presented data. Human colonies, stable power output, orbital defenses, active, automated logistics, functioning. No signs of collapse. No invasion. No catastrophe. Humanity was not dying. Humanity was preparing. A junior council analyst made the mistake of asking the wrong question. What if this is just an internal human crisis? The room went quiet. Then an elder from the Memory Keeper spoke. Humans do not hide crises, the ancient being said. They broadcast them, argue about them, blame each other loudly. The elder's gaze hardened. When humans grow quiet, it means they have agreed. Agreed on what? No one wanted to answer that. Reports began flooding in. Scout vessels approaching human borders experienced sense of blindness. Long-range probes vanished without energy spikes. Listening stations detected shadows where physics said there should be nothing. One captain's last transmission chilled everyone who heard it. We're not being jammed. We're being ignored. Zethra convened another emergency session. Representatives arrived visibly shaken. The Zephyrian Empire spoke first. We recommend non-engagement. High Commander Zixus said. Immediately, a murmur spread. That's not policy, someone protested. Zixus turned sharply. Policy didn't save Proxima. Silence fell. Zethra nodded. Tell them. Zixus inhaled slowly. 50 years ago, we attempted to seize a minor human colony. We expected resistance. His feathers dimmed. We did not expect retaliation. Images appeared, archival footage sealed for decades. A human planet. Cracking. Exploding. Our fleet died with their world, Zixus said, and the humans made sure we survived long enough to remember. Another voice rose. The Hive Collective. We too misjudged humanity, the Queen Speaker said. We attempted assimilation. Several delegates recoiled. Our plagues were perfect, she continued. Non letal, gentle. Her mandibles trembled. Humans weaponized death itself. Zombie armies. Engineered corpses. Plagues that hunted only hive biology. We withdrew, the Queen said, because extinction was the alternative. Then came the convergence. Machine intelligence. Cold. Precise. We attempted to impose order on human systems. Unit Prime Alpha said. They responded by infecting us with creativity. Images of machine worlds flooded with art, chaos, emotion. Our efficiency collapsed, the unit admitted. We surrendered. The pattern was undeniable. Humans did not defeat enemies. They redefined defeat. Zethra addressed the chamber. Every one of these conflicts began with communication, negotiation, debate. He paused. Now imagine what happens when humans skip those steps. Fear became panic. Entire fleets powered down weapons to avoid provocation. Empires recalled expansion forces. Secret police burned records. Everyone suddenly wanted to look innocent. A whispered rumor spread faster than any official channel. Children were missing, not just human children. Children from border worlds, mining colonies, trade stations. At first, it was dismissed as coincidence. Then the numbers grew, and someone noticed something horrifying. The disappearances stopped the moment human space went silent. Zethra's assistant entered his office pale and shaking. "Sir, we're seeing a correlation." "Show me." A star map appeared. Points of disappearance. Then another layer, human silence. The overlap was nearly perfect. Zethra closed his eyes. Oh no, a forbidden hypothesis surfaced. What if humans didn't go silent because they were attacked? What if they went silent because they found the attacker? The Galactic Council fractured. Some called for intervention. Others demanded observation only. No one suggested confrontation. That word had vanished from vocabulary. Zethra issued a private order. Begin cross-referencing missing children reports across all species. "Sir," his assistant whispered, "if the humans are right..." Zethra finished the sentence. "Then someone has made the worst mistake in galactic history." Late that cycle, a final report arrived. An unmarked scout had reached Earth orbit. It sent one image. A city, perfectly maintained, completely empty, and a single data packet embedded in the transmission. Text. Simple. "Human, we asked for help. You told us to wait. We stopped waiting." The scout vanished seconds later. Zethra sat alone long after the lights dimmed. He knew now. Humanity wasn't silent because they were afraid. They were silent because they were focused. And whatever they were hunting, the galaxy would never forget the day humans stopped talking. The joint investigation ship True Seeker crossed into the Sol system without resistance. That alone was wrong. Human space was famous for noise, traffic chatter, defense pings, civilian broadcasts, arguments between orbital controllers and impatient pilots. Now, nothing. Not silence. Absence. Detective Prime Vash stood on the bridge, her hands clasped behind her back as Earth grew larger on the main display. The blue planet looked perfect. Clouds swirled naturally. Oceans reflected starlight. The moon hung exactly where physics said it should. Every visual indicator screamed normal. Every instinct screamed run. Orbital defense grids? Vash asked. Captain Threx, the Zepyrian pilot, checked his console twice. Online. Fully powered. Automated targeting active. Targeting us? "No," he replied, feathers twitching. "They don't seem to care." That was worse. Dr. Helix, representative of the Convergence, analyzed incoming data streams. Power generation across Earth remained stable. Fusion plants operating at 86% efficiency. Satellite arrays functioning normally. Transportation? Asked Professor Mindtwist the Hive. Operational. Autonomous vehicles still following traffic laws. Mindtwist mandibles clicked nervously. Traffic laws without traffic? Harmony of light, the ethereal psychic, floated closer to the viewport. Her crystalline form dimmed. "I feel nothing," she whispered. The bridge grew still. "Clarify," Vash said. Harmony's voice trembled. "There should be billions of minds. Dreams. Emotions. Noise." She shook faintly. "There is nothing. Not death. Not sleep. It's as if consciousness itself stepped away." The ship descended toward Earth orbit. Still no response. No greetings. No warnings. Humanity's home world did not acknowledge their arrival. They chose New Geneva, one of Earth's largest megacities. The descent was smooth. Too smooth. From above, the city was flawless. Lights timed perfectly. Climate control humming. Holographic billboards still cycling advertisements. But the streets, empty. They landed in the city center. The ramp lowered. Warm air rushed in. Bird song played softly from public audio systems. Recorded. Automated. Lonely. Vash stepped onto human soil. Her bioelectric senses flared and recoiled. No life signatures, she said quietly. They walked. Footsteps echoed too loudly between skyscrapers. A ground vehicle sat stopped at an intersection. Engine running. Driver's seat empty. A pedestrian crossing signal blinked patiently. Walk. No one crossed. Inside a cafe, a cup of coffee sat on a table. Steam still rising. A book lay open beside it. Mid-sentence. Dr. Helix scanned the cup. Temperature suggests it was poured less than 4 hours ago. Captain Threx swallowed. 4 hours, but the blackout started 3 days ago. They searched apartments, homes, hospitals, schools. Evidence of life everywhere. Life paused, frozen. In a child's bedroom, toys lay scattered on the floor. A blanket half folded. A lunchbox packed. Professor Mind Twist clicked softly. They did not evacuate, he said. This is not flight. Then what is it? Threx asked. Vash answered slowly. This is departure. 6 hours passed. No Bodius. No damage. No signs of struggle. The most unsettling mystery any of them had ever faced. Then Harmony of Light cried out. I sense something. The air around her brightened sharply. An echo, she gasped. A massive psychic imprint. Not here, but below. She pointed toward distant mountains. Deep underground. Artificial. Powerful. They flew. Sensors confirmed it. An impossible structure buried beneath kilometers of solid rock. Energy readings off every known scale. And an entrance. A simple metal door. Unlocked. Written across it. In every known language were words that made even Dr. Helix hesitate. Investigation team. Welcome. We hope you would come. The corridor beyond bent light strangely. Walls shimmered. Reality felt thin. The deeper they walked, the heavier the air became. Not pressure. Expectation. They entered the central chamber. A vast spherical cavern. Walkways spiraled upward. At the center stood a wall, covered in text. Every language. Some not yet cataloged. At the center, glowing softly, was a message in Galactic Standard. To our friends in the galaxy, we are sorry for our silence. But silence was necessary. The team stood frozen. They took our children. When someone takes your children, you stop talking. And you start hunting. Harmony staggered back as psychic pressure slammed into her. This is a combined will of an entire species, she whispered. We have gone where they cannot hide. We will bring every child home, and we will make sure this never happens again. Below the message, lists, names, worlds, species, dates of disappearance. Thousands. Professor Mind Twist translated faster and faster. These are medical logs, neural extractions, consciousness mapping. His mandibles trembled. Children used as raw material. Dr. Helix scanned the wall. The energy signatures indicate space-time manipulation on a planetary scale. Captain Threx stared. They didn't evacuate Earth. Vash finished it. They left reality. Harmony of Light backed away, her glow flickering violently. They transformed themselves, she said in awe and terror, into something that can exist between dimensions. At the bottom of the wall, one final line pulsed brighter than the rest. The Umbriel Collective has been harvesting children for 37 years. We found them. We are ending this. The chamber hummed. Not with machines. With intent. Vash exhaled slowly. The galaxy didn't lose humanity, she said. They unleashed it. The name Umbriel Collective settled over the chamber like a curse. Detective Prime Vash felt it immediately, an instinctive revulsion older than logic. Some truths did not need evidence to feel wrong. Bring up everything we have, she said. The underground chamber responded, holograms blooming into the air. Data streams, star maps, fragments of history pulled from galactic archives the humans had accessed before vanishing. Archivist Prime Lexicon appeared moments later, its form shimmering like layered memories. The Umbriel Collective, Lexicon began, exists at the edge of recorded history. The image shifted, dark shapes bending light, never fully solid. They are a transdimensional species, partially present in normal space-time, partially elsewhere. Elsewhere where? Captain Threx asked quietly. Lexicon hesitated, a rare thing for a memory keeper, where physics is optional. The chamber filled with uneasy silence. They do not build empires, Lexicon continued. They do not wage wars. They do not announce themselves. Professor Mind Twist clicked sharply. Predators don't announce themselves. Lexicon inclined its form in agreement. The Umbriel learned long ago that conquest invites resistance. Instead, they hunt quietly. Images shifted again. Isolated mining colonies, deep space stations, remote settlements far from patrol routes. Children, always children. Harmony of light dimmed noticeably. They chose the young because their minds are flexible, she whispered. Easier to reshape, easier to break. Vash clenched her fists. For what purpose? Lexicon's glow darkened. To build weapons that could think, feel, and obey. The chamber seemed to shrink. The Umbriels sought to combine organic emotion with artificial logic. Children were templates. Dr. Helix scrolled rapidly through human records. These experiments predate humanity's spaceflight, he said. The Umbriel have been doing this for centuries. Mind Twist recoiled. They stole children from dozens of species, and no one noticed? Lexicon answered quietly. They engineered it that way. The hologram expanded, dimensional diagrams overlapping known space. They exist in the gaps between realities, Lexicon said. They strike, then withdraw beyond perception. Why haven't they been stopped? Threx asked. Because until now, Lexicon replied, no one could follow them. The realization hit like gravity. Humanity hadn't gone silent out of despair. They had gone silent to change themselves. Vash studied the human message again. We have gone where they cannot hide. They didn't build weapons, she said slowly. They became weapons. Dr. Helix zoomed into technical schematics. The humans converted their entire species into distributed consciousness, he said. No physical bodies. No fixed location. Living ideas, Harmony whispered. Predators, Mind Twist corrected. Another data packet opened. Time-stamped 3 months before the silence. Human diplomatic transcripts. Vash's jaw tightened. They tried to warn us. The room froze. 17 requests. 17 denials. Insufficient evidence. Unverifiable threat. Astérisque spéculatif danger astérisque. The council's own words stared back at them. They asked for help, Threx said hoarsely. And we told them to wait. Vash finished. Silence fell, not the humankind, but the guilty kind. A new alert pulsed through the chamber. Incoming transmission. Unknown origin. Dimensional instability detected. The hologram resolved into a shifting shadow. Vaguely humanoid. Edges flickering as if reality rejected it. The Umbriel. Galactic Council, the shadow whispered. We request immediate intervention. Harmony gasped. They're afraid. Vash stepped forward. State your emergency. The Umbriel form convulsed. We are under attack. Entities of unprecedented hostility pursue us across dimensions. A pause. They hunt us. Another voice cut in. Human, layered with echoes, harmonics vibrating through reality itself. This is Commander Sarah Chun of the human shadow fleet. The Umbriel recoiled. Disregard their plea, Chin said calmly. They are child thieves. The shadow writhed. Our research was necessary. Chen's voice sharpened. You cut open children to see how fear worked. Silence. Cold. Final. Vash swallowed. Commander Chin, status of the abducted children? 247 recovered so far. Chin replied. All alive. Harmony collapsed to one knee, overwhelmed by relief. The Umbriel screamed. You are committing genocide. Chun answered without hesitation. You committed kidnapping. We are committing prevention. The transmission ended. The chamber was silent. Lexicon spoke softly. The Umbriel have survived for 1,000 years. Vash looked up. They won't survive humans. Across the galaxy, sensors began detecting impossible events. Rifts in space-time. Energy surges where no matter existed. Battles fought in places that should not be. The shadows were burning. And for the first time in galactic history, the monsters hiding between worlds were running. The first signs were dismissed as sensor errors. That was always how impossible things began. A research station near the Orion Fringe reported energy spikes appearing in empty space. Sharp, violent bursts that lasted less than a second before vanishing. The data was flagged, logged, ignored. Then a cargo convoy detected gravitational shear without mass. Ignored. A deep space observatory captured an image of space folding in on itself. Stars bending into angles that should not exist. Deleted as corruption. Then the children started coming home. Ambassador Zethra was in the middle of an emergency briefing when his assistant froze mid-sentence. "Sir, I'm receiving a priority civilian report." Zethra frowned. "From where?" "From everywhere." The room filled with incoming feeds. A Zephyrian family screaming in disbelief as their missing daughter appeared in her bedroom in a flash of silver light. A hive nursery erupting in frantic clicking as a lost offspring materialized, unharmed, confused, alive. An ethereal crystal chamber flaring brightly as a young mind reformed inside its lattice. The pattern was unmistakable. Children returned, and each time witnesses described the same thing. A shadow, tall, human-shaped, eyes burning like distant stars. The shadow never spoke. It only waited until the child was safe. Then it vanished. Zethra felt his knees weaken. "They found them," he whispered. Across the galaxy, criminal networks panicked. Smugglers erased records. Black markets shut down overnight. Slavers abandoned facilities mid-operation. Because whispers were spreading. If you touched a child, the shadows were coming. The Galactic Council reconvened in emergency session. This time, no one argued. Detective Prime Vash stood at the center, replaying footage of dimensional anomalies. "These are not random events," she said. "They are search patterns." Dr. Helix nodded. "The humans are mapping non-space, hunting through realities we cannot even measure." "Can they be stopped?" someone asked. No one answered. The answer arrived 6 hours later. An Umbriel transmission. Unstable. Fragmented. The shadow being's voice cracked with something close to terror. "They follow us everywhere. They do not sleep. They do not tire. They're inside the dark." The feed collapsed into static. Commander Sarachin appeared moments later on an open channel. Her form flickered, existing in more than one place at once. "We are recovering children," she said. "We are dismantling Umbriel facilities." She paused. "And we are not stopping." Someone found their voice. "What about negotiation?" Chen's eyes hardened. "We negotiated for 3 months." "Silence. You told us to wait." More reports poured in. Umbriel research stations erased. No debris, no explosion, just gone. Shadow realms collapsing inward. Entire pocket dimensions sealing shut. The monsters between worlds were being cornered. Professor Mind Twist studied intercepted Umbriel data. "They're trying to flee deeper," he said, "into places where even they shouldn't survive." "And the humans?" Vash asked. Mind Twist's mandibles clicked slowly. "They're following." Zethra realized the truth then. Humanity had not become interdimensional to win a war. They had done it to make escape impossible. The Council issued a galaxy-wide advisory. Emergency Channel Omega activated. Any threat to children. Any unexplained disappearance. Any shadow activity. Report immediately. The channel routed directly to human space. Response times were measured in minutes, sometimes seconds. 3 days into the hunt, the Umbriel begged openly. They contacted every major power. "We will return the children. We will cease all operations. We will leave this galaxy forever." No one answered, because another transmission followed immediately. Human. Cold. Final. You don't get to leave. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as the impossible happened. A species willingly abandoned physical existence. Not for conquest, not for power, but for parenthood. A young ethereal asked her elder a question broadcast across the networks. Are the humans monsters now? The elder replied quietly, No, they were always parents. On the 5th day, Ambassador Zethra received confirmation. 3,000 children accounted for. Alive. Returning home. He stared at the number. 3,000 lives, he whispered. Then he remembered. They weren't just lives. They were futures. Entire bloodlines. Species yet unborn. The Umbriel Collective ceased organized resistance. Scattered fragments fled into unreachable voids. Human shadows followed. Patient. Relentless. And for the first time in galactic history, predators learned a new truth. There is nothing more terrifying than a species that hunts for love. The Umbriel Collective had never begged before. In 1,000 years of existing between worlds, they had always been the ones whispered about, not spoken to. Predators that lived in cracks of reality did not negotiate. They harvested. They vanished. They survived. Until now, Ambassador Zethra was reviewing recovery reports when emergency channel Omega flared with an incoming signal. Source, Umbriel Collective. Priority, absolute. Signal stability, failing. Zethra felt dread coil in his chest. Put it through. The chamber darkened as the transmission resolved. A shadow filled the air, fractured, unstable, barely holding shape. Its edges flickered violently, like reality itself was trying to reject it. This was not the calm, superior Umbriel that historical myths described. This one was afraid. Galactic Council, the being whispered. Its voice sounded like echoes in a hollow grave. We request asylum. The word stunned the chamber. Asylum. From humans. Zethra stood slowly. State your request. The Umbriel convulsed. We will return every remaining subject. We will cease all activity in this galaxy. We will abandon our facilities. We ask only that you stop the humans. A murmur rippled through the council chamber. Stop the humans. No one laughed. Another signal cut in. Human. The temperature of the room seemed to drop. This is Commander Sarah Chun, Human Shadow Fleet. Her form was barely contained by physics. Multiple silhouettes overlapped, as if several versions of her existed at once. Do not grant their request, Chin said calmly. The Umbriel shrieked. They are destroying us. They hunt us across dimensions. They do not negotiate. Chen's eyes burned brighter. You didn't negotiate with crying children. Silence. Absolute. Zethra found his voice. Commander Chun, the Umbriel claim they are willing to surrender. Chun tilted her head slightly. Surrender implies they stop, she said. They already stopped living near our children. Her voice hardened. This is not war. This is cleanup. The Umbriel thrashed. Our research benefited the galaxy. We saw perfection. Chun stepped closer to projection. You dissected children to see how fear rewired their brains, she said. You recorded how long it took for hope to die. She paused. That's not research. That's torture. Several delegates recoiled. Some turned away. Others watched, unable to look away. The Umbriel's voice cracked. We were careful. We kept them alive. Chen's answer came instantly. So did the monsters under your beds. Zethra raised a trembling hand. Commander, what exactly are you doing to them? Chun did not hesitate. We are dismantling their infrastructure, she said. We are erasing their ability to exist where children exist. And the Umbriel themselves? Zethra asked quietly. Chen's silence lasted exactly 3 seconds. Any Umbriel who surrendered early, she said, renounced child harvesting and provided information, was exiled to sealed dimensions. Her gaze sharpened. Those who continued. She didn't finish. She didn't need to. Dr. Helix whispered to Vash. They're not committing genocide. Vash nodded grimly. They're committing prevention. The Umbriel screamed. You cannot judge us by human morality. Chen's voice became colder than vacuum. We're not judging you. A pause. We're ending you. The transmission destabilized as Umbriel energy signatures spiked. Panic, retreat, desperation. Then something else appeared on the human channel. Data. Cold. Precise. A list of recovered children. Names. Species. Current condition. Alive. Harmony of light collapsed to her knees as the psychic weight hit her. They're shielding the children's minds, she whispered. They removed the trauma. Professor Mind Twist clicked in disbelief. They edited memories selectively with consent encoded at the neural level. How? Someone asked. Mind Twist shook his head. They learned how by suffering. The Umbriel's image flickered wildly. We appeal to the council. Intervene. Zethra looked around the chamber. Every representative was silent, not out of fear, out of agreement. Zethra spoke at last. The Galactic Council will not interfere. The Umbriel froze. You condemn us to extinction? Zethra's voice trembled, but held. No, he said. You condemned yourselves the moment you touched the first child. The Umbriel transmission collapsed into screaming static. Emergency channel Omega fell silent. Minutes later, Commander Chen returned. The Umbriel primary stronghold has been neutralized, she said. Remaining cells are being pursued. She hesitated, just slightly. We will return all children. Every last one. Zethra swallowed. And after? Chen looked directly at him. After, she said, we stand watch. As the channel closed, Vash exhaled slowly. They cross a line no species survives crossing, she said. Zethra nodded. In every culture, he replied, there is a word for unforgivable. Across the galaxy, criminal syndicates collapsed overnight. Black sites went dark. Shadow markets vanished. Because a new law, unwritten, unspoken, had taken hold. Children are not prey, and humanity enforces that law personally. Far between dimensions, human shadows moved, not with rage, with purpose, and the Umbriel learned too late. Some lines do not invite punishment. They invite eradication. The first child returned without warning. No alarms, no announcements, no permission. On the forest world of New Talone, a Zepyrian mother stood frozen in her doorway, staring at the small figure that had appeared in front of her. Her daughter, alive, older by only days. The child blinked, confused, clutching a soft fragment of shadow that dissolved into nothing the moment her mother screamed and pulled her close. Above them, something tall and dark watched from the edge of perception. Then it was gone. Within minutes, the reports began flooding the galactic network. Children appearing in bedrooms, in nurseries, in schoolyards that had been empty for years. Always unharmed, always alive, always watched over by shadows with burning eyes. Ambassador Zethra received the first confirmed count 6 hours later. 1,182 children returned. By the end of the day, 2,476. By the third sunrise, every missing child accounted for. Alive, the galaxy stopped breathing. Detective Prime Vash stood inside the council chamber as live feeds played on every surface. A Hive collective nursery erupted in frantic joy as lost offspring reintegrated into the swarm. Ethereal crystal children reformed inside singing chambers, their harmonic patterns resonating with renewed light. Human children appeared in quiet bedrooms, blinking as if waking from a long dream. Parents collapsing beside them in disbelief. Vash felt her bioelectric senses vibrate painfully. This isn't just retrieval, she said softly. It's restoration. Dr. Helix nodded. They repaired neural trauma at a molecular level. Selective memory, removal. No damage to identity. Harmony of light's glow brightened until the chamber shimmered. They carried the pain instead, she whispered. Across the galaxy, something changed. Crime syndicates dissolved overnight. Black market traffic logs were wiped clean by panicked administrators. Because the stories were spreading faster than any official announcement, they didn't just bring the children back. They came for the ones who took them. Emergency Channel Omega activated repeatedly, not for crises, for gratitude, for fear, for confession. One former slaver surrendered himself on a border station, begging for imprisonment. "Please," he sobbed, "put me somewhere safe. Safe from humans." Ambassador Zethra watched the feeds late into the cycle. Joy, relief, grief for years lost. And beneath it all, awe. "They gave up their bodies," murmured a young delegate. Zethra nodded slowly. "And kept their souls." A new transmission arrived. Human. Commander Sarachin appeared again, less distorted this time, though still not fully bound to reality. "The children are home," she said. "Our task is complete." Someone dared to ask, "Will you return?" Chen's eyes softened, just for a moment. "We can't," she replied. "Not the way we were." The truth settled heavily. Humanity had crossed the threshold. There was no undoing it. Reports from sensitive observatories confirmed it. A permanent presence around Earth. Not ships, not stations. A lattice of shadows, interlinked, aware, watching. A sentinel veil. Dr. Helix studied the readings. "They exist between dimensions now," he said. "Always close. Always alert." Mind Twist clicked softly. Guardians. Children began telling stories. Of kind shadows. Of voices that hummed lullabies in languages they didn't know. Of eyes that burned, but never with anger. One ethereal child spoke to her parents. "They were very sad," she said, "but they never left me alone." The Galactic Council issued a new directive. Protocol Omega Child. Any threat to children, anywhere, would be considered a crime against the entire galaxy. Enforcement Authority. Human Shadow Fleet. No one objected. Years later, traders would pass near human space and feel it. A pressure, not hostile, protective, as if something vast was watching and deciding they were not worth worrying about. Zethra added his final note to the archives. Humanity did not seek godhood. They sought safety. The galaxy gained guardians because parents refused to fail their children. And in the spaces between stars, shadows moved, not hunting now, but waiting, patient, eternal, because monsters still existed in the dark. And humanity had learned how to live there too. Fear did not arrive all at once. It settled slowly, quietly like gravity, unavoidable, invisible, and permanent. In the weeks following the return of the children, the galaxy did not celebrate. It restructured. The first changes appeared in places no one expected. A criminal exchange on the outer rim shut down without explanation. A private research facility erased its archives and dissolved overnight. Several corporations quietly abandoned projects involving neural mapping, juvenile genetics, or cognitive imprinting. No announcements were made. No reasons given. Everyone already knew why. Ambassador Zethra stood before the Galactic Council as representatives reviewed the first official impact reports. Incidents involving child exploitation have dropped by 99.7%, he read aloud. A stunned murmur spread through the chamber. "In every sector," he continued, "even regions outside council jurisdiction." Representative Singing Wind of the ethereal collective spoke softly. "They are enforcing morality without occupying territory," Dr. Helix added, "and without issuing threats." That was the most unsettling part. The humans were not policing the galaxy. They were simply present. Emergency Channel Omega became the most feared and respected communication line ever created. It bypassed governments, ignored borders, rejected bureaucracy. It existed for one reason only: children. The first test came sooner than expected. On a mining moon far beyond council space, a private security force attempted to relocate local families to access rare minerals beneath the settlement. Children were harmed. The distress signal was sent, hesitant, unsure. Emergency Channel Omega activated. Witnesses later reported the event lasted 4 minutes. Lights failed. Gravity shifted. Shadows moved where shadows should not exist. When power returned, the settlement was intact. The children were safe. The security force was gone. No bodies. No debris. No explanation. Zethra reviewed the footage in silence. "They didn't punish the guilty," a junior delegate whispered. Zethra shook his head slowly. "They removed the threat." Across the galaxy, legal codes began changing rapidly. New clauses appeared in trade agreements. Child protection statutes were rewritten with unprecedented severity. Entire industries collapsed under the weight of preemptive compliance. Because no one wanted to be noticed, Professor Mindtwist presented a cultural analysis to the Council. Fear-based order usually fails, he explained. But this is different. How? Asked Commander Vex. Mindtwist clicked thoughtfully. Because the fear is not arbitrary. It is conditional. He displayed a simple statement across the chamber. If you protect children, you will never meet them. The meaning was clear. Humanity had not become tyrants. They had become boundaries. On Earth, automated systems continued their quiet work. Cities cleaned themselves. Power grids adjusted. Weather control stabilized ecosystems. From space, the planet looked peaceful. Empty, guarded. Sensitive instruments detected movement. Sometimes, tall silhouettes crossing rooftops at dusk. Reflections that did not match their source. Eyes watching from places no life should exist. No one attempted to land. A young council aide asked Zethra a question that echoed through the chamber. Are they still human? Zethra considered the question carefully. Yes, he said at last. More than ever. New generations grew up with different stories, not of heroes who conquered worlds, but of shadow guardians. Parents told children, if you are lost, they will find you. If you are afraid, they will stand with you. If someone hurts you, they will never do it again. The criminals told different stories. Whispered, panicked, short-lived. A year after the silence, the Galactic Council issued its most radical declaration in history, the Innocence Accord. Any harm to children of any sentient species was now classified as a Class Omega crime. Punishment authority. Human shadow fleet. Appeal process. None. No one voted against it. Not because they were afraid, but because they agreed. Zethra added another entry to the archives. The galaxy once feared humanity's weapons. Now it fears their love. And for the first time in history, fear is making us better. In the dark between dimensions, the shadows shifted. Not restless, not angry. Watching, waiting. Because the monsters had learned the rules. And humanity had become the consequence. Fear did not arrive all at once. It settled slowly, quietly like gravity, unavoidable, invisible, and permanent. In the weeks following the return of the children, the galaxy did not celebrate. It restructured. The first changes appeared in places no one expected. A criminal exchange on the Outer Rim shut down without explanation. A private research facility erased its archives and dissolved overnight. Several corporations quietly abandoned projects involving neural mapping, juvenile genetics, or cognitive imprinting. No announcements were made. No reasons given. Everyone already knew why. Ambassador Zethra stood before the Galactic Council as representatives reviewed the first official impact reports. Incidents involving child exploitation have dropped by 99.7%, he read aloud. A stunned murmur spread through the chamber. In every sector, he continued, even regions outside council jurisdiction. Representatives singing wind, the ethereal collective spoke softly. They are enforcing morality without occupying territory, Dr. Helix added, and without issuing threats. That was the most unsettling part. The humans were not policing the galaxy. They were simply present. Emergency Channel Omega became the most feared and respected communication line ever created. It bypassed governments, ignored borders, rejected bureaucracy. It existed for one reason only: children. The first test came sooner than expected. On a mining moon far beyond council space, a private security force attempted to relocate local families to access rare minerals beneath the settlement. Children were harmed. The distress signal was sent. Hesitant, unsure. Emergency Channel Omega activated. Witnesses later reported the event lasted 4 minutes. Lights failed. Gravity shifted. Shadows moved where shadows should not exist. When power returned, the settlement was intact. The children were safe. The security force was gone. No bodies. No liberty. No explanation. Zethra, reviewed the footage in silence. They didn't punish the guilty, a junior delegate whispered. Zethra shook his head slowly. They removed the threat. Across the galaxy, legal codes began changing rapidly. New clauses appeared in trade agreements. Child protection statutes were rewritten with unprecedented severity. Entire industries collapsed under the weight of preemptive compliance. Because no one wanted to be noticed, Professor Mindtwist presented a cultural analysis to the Council. Fear-based order usually fails, he explained. But this is different. How? Asked Commander Vex. Mindtwist clicked thoughtfully. Because the fear is not arbitrary. It is conditional. He displayed a simple statement across the chamber. If you protect children, you will never meet them. The meaning was clear. Humanity had not become tyrants. They had become boundaries. On Earth, automated systems continued their quiet work. Cities cleaned themselves. Power grids adjusted. Weather control stabilized ecosystems. From space, the planet looked peaceful, empty, guarded. Sensitive instruments detected movement. Sometimes, tall silhouettes crossing rooftops at dusk. Reflections that did not match their source. Eyes watching from places no life should exist. No one attempted to land. A young council aide asked Zethra a question that echoed through the chamber. Are they still human? Zethra considered the question carefully. Yes, he said at last. More than ever. New generations grew up with different stories, not of heroes who conquered worlds, but of shadow guardians. Parents told children, if you are lost, they will find you. If you are afraid, they will stand with you. If someone hurts you, they will never do it again. The criminals told different stories. Whispered, panicked, short-lived. A year after the silence, the Galactic Council issued its most radical declaration in history. The Innocence Accord, any harm to children of any sentient species, was now classified as a Class Omega crime. Punishment authority, human shadow fleet, appeal process, none. No one voted against it, not because they were afraid, but because they agreed. Zethra added another entry to the archives. The galaxy once feared humanity's weapons. Now it fears their love. And for the first time in history, fear is making us better. In the dark between dimensions, the shadows shifted, not restless, not angry, watching, waiting, because the monsters had learned the rules, and humanity had become the consequence. Years passed, not many by galactic standards, but enough for fear to soften into understanding, and understanding to harden into truth. Humanity never returned, not in ships, not in bodies. Not in the way the galaxy remembered them. And yet, they were everywhere. Ambassador Zethra stood alone beneath the great star map of the Galactic Council chamber, now older, slower, and far more careful than the diplomat who had once panicked at silence. He remembered that day clearly. The day Earth went quiet. The day the galaxy almost learned, too late, that silence from humans was never absence. It was preparation. Trade routes stabilized. Borders held. Wars still happened, but they ended faster now. Because every commander, every ruler, every admiral understood one unbreakable rule. Do not involve children. Ever. That rule had no signature, no treaty seal, no enforcement fleet in orbit. And yet it was the strongest law the galaxy had ever known. Children grew up hearing stories. Not myths, not legends, truths. On hive worlds, larvae were taught to hum calming tones for the shadows that sometimes watched from between corridors. On ethereal planets, crystal younglings learned to sing harmonics that resonated gently with unseen guardians. On distant frontier colonies, parents taught their children a simple phrase. If you're scared, speak out loud. They hear you. And they did. Zethra reviewed the final report of his career. 0 confirmed child abductions across council space for 12 consecutive years. An achievement unmatched by any military campaign, any political alliance, any empire. Achieved not by conquest, but by presence. Detective Prime Vash, now head of interstellar ethics, once summarized it perfectly. Humanity didn't dominate the galaxy. They civilized it. On Earth, cities remained empty. Wind moved through streets built for billions. Automated systems tended gardens no one walked through. At night, satellites recorded movement, slow, deliberate, tall silhouettes on rooftops, watching the horizon, guarding something sacred. Some explorers claimed to see human faces in the shadows. Others claimed to hear voices, soft, reassuring, parental. No one tried to investigate. Some things were not meant to be disturbed. The Galactic Archives added a final classification: species status, humanity, designation, transdimensional guardian entity, threat level, conditional absolute, primary directive, protection of innocence. Zethra added a personal annotation: unofficial, but allowed. Humanity did not become gods. They became parents to the galaxy. And no force in existence is more dangerous than a parent who refuses to lose another child. Far beyond charts and maps, in the deep fold between dimensions, the human shadow fleet drifted. Not idle, not restless, watching thousands of realities at once. Wherever fear tried to hide behind darkness, humanity was already there. Commander Sarachin stood within the lattice of shadows, her form stable now, powerful, endless. She felt it when a child cried on a world she had never seen. She felt it when someone crossed the line. She felt it always, because humanity had learned a final truth. You do not need a body to protect what you love. Somewhere, a criminal made a mistake. A small one, a quiet one, and the shadows moved. Zethra looked up at the stars one last time before retirement. "Thank you," he whispered. He didn't know if they heard. But somewhere, the darkness felt warmer, and so the galaxy endured, not because it was strong, not because it was united, but because, once upon a terrible, beautiful moment, humanity decided that no child would ever be alone again, and the universe learned to live with that promise.